Okay, we're going to look at a couple of scales that you can use to dress up your blues. The one that most people use is the pentatonic scale. We're going to look at what I call the G form used as a minor. The terms I'm using are from the Fretboard Logic book. You can find them on my webpage, or you can find them in Fretboard Logic. But here's our G form pentatonic, and we're using it as a minor, so we're going to start with the first finger as the root. In the G form major, that would be the 6th degree of the scale. But that's root, minor 3, 4, 5, minor 7, root. Minor 3, 4, 5, minor 7, or flat 7, root, and then the minor 3 again. Now, that bend, where we bend the 4 until it sounds like the 5, or almost like the 5, the reason that works is because when you bend that 4 up, it becomes the flat 5. Flat 5 is one of the blue notes. In fact, many people say it is the blue note, although the minor 3rd and the minor 7 sound very blue to me. Now you can do pull-offs from that flat 5, or an octave below where the flat 5 happens here. There's our 4, there's our flat 5, 5. It works for a good hammer-on. That move in some songs, but see what else you can do with that flat 5. Now, another note that you can use is when you get to the 5 chord, and I'm using my C7 for a 5 chord, you can throw in the major 7. So, that's what I mean by the turnaround. When we're getting to that 5, hit the major 7, flat 7, major 7, root, and then the 5 chord. And while we're on that 5 chord, you can hit that major 7 again. So first note we added was the flat 5. Now I'm telling you, there, on occasion, you can use that major 7. You can also use the major 2nd. And that works real good on the 5 chord also, because if we actually played the whole 5 chord, that note is in the 5 chord. There's my 5 chord in the key of A. So experiment. There's very few places where you can put that 2nd in. There's very few places where you can put that major 7 in, except it's passing tones. So you got to trust your ear and learn which chords you can use these notes again. Now this is the reason so many people use that pentatonic scale. There's no wrong notes. Okay, when we start adding these extra notes, you're going to have to develop some taste and some attention to detail. So, try that flat 5, try that major 7, and that gives us this run. That's 4, flat 5, 5, flat 7, major 7, root, to the minor 3rd. And if you want to build tension, if we're on the 1 chord, and if you get to that note, it's not resolved. So if you take a phrase, and the next phrase resolves it. It's like a call and response. That note doesn't fit this chord either. It fits the 4 chord. We're anticipating the 4 chord. So, end a phrase on a note that's not in the chord that you're playing, and then end the next phrase on a note that is in the chord that you're playing. Tension, release, tension, release. Now, if you really want to get the audience to squirm, end each phrase on notes that aren't in the chord, and you can actually see them flinch and squirm around. But if you're trying to build some suspense, I'm playing that chord, and that note's being held against it, it's waiting to resolve down, or it can resolve up. Now that's another thing that I do. So we talked about adding the blue note, which is the flat 5. We talked about adding the major 7, the major 2nd. Now I'm going to tell you that on occasion you can put in the major 3rd. That's the minor 3rd, major 3rd, root. And you can do it as a passing note, or I just ended on the major 3rd right when we're going to this chord. So if it's, here's our 1 chord, hit that right when this chord would be happening. Now, another trick you can use is to actually go to a whole different chord. I mean a whole different scale. You can actually drop down here and use the major scale against it. And that's done by putting your fourth finger on the root. Try those out and I'll get back with more later.